All right, it's new iPad Pro day, iPad day. We're going to do a massive text unboxing today. It is going to be a wonderful time. If you want to check out my full review of any of these products, this is just a knee-jerk reaction. I want to check out the products, get them unboxed, look at the packaging and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to see my full review of them, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like this video while you're at it, just since you're near there. First up, we have the Apple Pencil Pro. I don't know how different of an experience it's going to be. That's why we're getting it out of the way. So this is the Apple Pencil Pro right here. When you take off all the stuff, guess what? It feels just like an Apple Pencil. Look at that right there. So I'm excited to feel how this kind of feels once you're actually using it, once it's charged and all the gyroscopes are there. So that's the Apple Pencil Pro. Now before we get into this, I do want to say kind of a good on Apple for trying to be as green as possible. Now I don't know how much I buy into everything about the green stuff. You know, I'm from Florida. I'm not allowed to. So but I do appreciate the fact that they don't add stickers into this boxing experience. Honestly, they were printing tons and tons and tons of stickers, and once you have one of the Apple stickers, it really doesn't make all that much of a difference if you have the black sticker or the white sticker. Like, people do not care. There's not a bunch of Apple nerds that know that the black stickers were for the really pro devices or not. And so I kind of appreciate that Apple didn't do this. Now, it also doesn't have a charger in the box, and so you're going to have to make sure that you go out and get your own charger. But with a lot of people having USB-C chargers everywhere, that's also not all that big of a deal. So Apple's commitment to being green, they are proving it by taking stuff out of the box. Now, as always, I like to say that one of the greenest things you can do is go ahead and get last year's device. That's less stuff in landfills. So next up, we're going to look at the iPad Air. I got the 13-inch version. I'm very excited to check this out. So like always, these Apple devices, they are a joy to unbox. They're kind of attention to detail with all their packaging is really awesome. And so I am very excited. I heard somebody say that it says Air in the box. I don't see it. Like, it's supposed to say Air out of these folds in the letter. I don't know. I wouldn't put anything like that past Apple. They are geniuses with their marketing. Let's check out from the side camera here what this looks like. Okay, so it feels pretty light. Always it has this paper on it just to keep it safe. Man, that is a very large iPad right there. Yeah, this iPad Pro is an absolute monster in the hand. Like I said in one of my previous videos, looking at kind of when they first announced these, I don't know that I would go with the 13-inch because it feels like you're holding a full-blown television in your hand. Like, check this thing out, man. That is humongous. There it is compared to an iPhone. Actually, before I keep going, I'm going to compare it real quick to this is the iPad mini size compared to it. Let's get that all straightened up so we don't look like a bum. iPad mini size compared to it, and this is the last year's iPad Pro compared to it. This is the 11-inch version, so it's, you know, that's a solid chunk of change right there on both sides. So obviously this is not my full review, so I'm gonna kind of get to using it and see how I like it when it's actually, you know, in the hand. But I can tell you right off the bat, that thing is massive. Now, it is very, very thin. I mean, I know this is not the right pencil for it, but if you look at the difference of the thickness between the Apple Pencil and the iPad Air, that thing is very thin. Obviously on the bottom we've got the USB-C, 2 speaker grills. You got a couple more speaker grills if I can get the focus to work out. A couple more speaker grills up top. So the iPad Air feels good. It's just really, really, really big. Now for me as a pastor, I do so much writing on my iPad, so it's really important for me, if I'm going to use an iPad as one of my daily devices, to have a really good keyboard. When they first came out with the Magic Keyboard, I loved it, but the new Magic Keyboard, it looks like it's a better improvement on the old one. All right, next up we have the iPad keyboard right here. I'm very excited about this. I love that it came in the white color. But man, I got a lot of use out of the last Magic Keyboard. And so this is obviously only going to work with the iPad Pro. Obviously, I also got the 11-inch version, so I want to check this thing out. One of my favorite things about these keyboard cases is that the trackpad on these things works out really well. Wow, that hinge, man. Can y'all see that? That hinge looks really crazy. Right here you can see the hinge in the keyboard. It is very, very, very different than last year's keyboard. I can tell you that much. So let me open it up real quick and see what's inside. Let's see. Oh, I opened it up the wrong way. So it's got a little spacer in there, obviously, as you can see. But man, look at that. Looks really good in this white color. Feels good. Hey. Yeah, this is going to be great. So the reason I went with this is because I have a 14-inch MacBook Pro, and to me, I didn't want to have a 13-inch iPad and then a 14-inch MacBook Pro. I feel like that would not be smart. So I went with this, and I'm really excited to try it out. But first, let's get to the main event, which is opening up the iPad Pro. So this is the iPad Pro, like it says P-R-O. If you haven't seen it yet, now you have. The iPad Pro, it feels very light so far in the box. I don't know that that's much of like a promising thing, but the iPad Pro, man, I really like these devices. Ooh, that is light. Feels thin, obviously. Not as thin as the 13-inch device, but it still feels very thin. Now, this device is gorgeous. It's in that space black that I've always really liked. You see right here, they got rid of the camera, and so they got rid of that wide-angle lens, which nobody was really using because you should not be using that with an iPad. But yeah, look at that thinness right there. I mean, that is wildly thin. It is a little bit bigger than the 13-inch, which is, you know, for me, fine. Like, I'm not buying this because I need a super thin device. I'm buying this because I find iPads really helpful. It's got the M4 chip in it. Again, the issue with iPads is not, it hasn't been about hardware for a very long time. Like the chips, even in the M1 iPad Pro, or even like the original iPad Pro, they still feel plenty fast. There's nothing that you're doing on an iPad that's like blowing this thing out of the water that it can't handle. I understand that some people are now doing a lot of video editing and photo editing, but it's been able to keep up with it for a long time now. So putting an M4 in there is cool, smart, whatever. I do think it's a little bit of marketing. Price-wise, man, I don't know which one I would recommend. I think because the iPad Pro starts at $1,000, I don't know that I would suggest it for probably 99% of people, honestly. Because this thing just being so unbelievably expensive isn't going to help you if an iPad from a year or two ago is going to do everything you need and then some. And so if you're looking at the iPad Pro, like it's a great device, but I don't really know exactly who this is for. Even like video editors and photo editors, all that kind of stuff. This Pro iPad, I think, is still just so much more than you actually need. So I actually want to hear, you know, in the comments below, what do you guys think? Do you think the iPad Pro is worth it? Do you think the iPad Air is more worth it? I'd just be curious to see everybody's knee-jerk reactions because it is a fairly polarizing device. Still, I'm frustrated with Apple. Why didn't you do an iPad mini? That would have been fantastic. So let me know those things in the comments below. Like I said, this is not my full review. I just wanted to get an unboxing done, my first impressions of these devices. I've always loved iPads, so I know I'm going to really enjoy these iPads. But again, iPad Air is probably the way to go for most people, but we'll figure that out in our full review. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see those full reviews. Like this video, sub to the channel, do all the things. I'll see you guys in the next one.